Hi, my name is Charles. Welcome to my drawing anatomy tutorial. And I would show you guys, basically the way I would normally teach my 10 weeks anatomy course. And what I do, I break down to 3 segments, proportions and skeletal structures and then anatomy. So what we're gonna do today, we're gonna go over proportions. So let's just get started. Okay. Okay, so basically I just start with this kind of skeletal kind of constructions, and I'll build my drawing over it. So I would start off the head, and I'll work my weight down, and I'll break down all the proportions, and I'm just gonna go over very basic on the head. We will have, there will be a week we will focusing more details on the head proportion, but I'm just gonna start with just very, simple ideas and some big simple lay-ins and proportion of the head. If we take halfway of the head, the top and the bottom, we take it halfway, right here, and that would be your eye line. And I'll put an arch over above it, and that will give you the eyebrow. And then here's the eyebrow line, right here. And then the halfway between the eyebrow to your chin, right here, that's going to be your nose. And then okay. And then so what you have here is the chin to your nose and nose to your eyebrow. They are equal distance. And if you take that same distance up right here, that will give you the hairline. So these are equal third. Okay. So, and then the mouth, you can see I put a mouth right here. This could be 1, 2, 3. The mouth is going to sit at about a third between the nose to the chin. I'm basically draw a socket, and I'm going to put a ball inside the socket like this to indicate where the eyeball is. Okay. Okay. And then if I extend the eyebrow to the side, extend the nose to the side, you can see your ear is going to fit about within that 2 lines. So and I'm gonna find about where the corner of the eyebrow. Corner eyebrow will be right. Here's the eyebrow right here. Sits on the eyebrow line. It comes out like this. And then here's the nose. And then here's the temple line. It's going to be right about with the corner of the eyebrow. So it breaks out the front and the side of the forehead. And then if we're going to swing this over towards your nose, we're going to swing over towards the nose, you get the widest part on the head, which is the cheekbones. And then this comes down to the side of the cheek. Earlier we talked about, we said it's 1/3 between the nose to the chin, 1/3 right here. That's where the mouth. The halfway between nose to the chin. So right here, here's about 1/3 right here. The halfway is about right here. Halfway between the nose to the chin right here. If I extend that all the way out, that's basically where the bottom of your lips. Okay, and if I extend that out to the side, it actually give you where the corner of a jawbone. And this is a very important landmark. This is a corner. So is the cheekbone. Anytime when you see corners on the bodies are referred to a very important landmark, because when the head tilts into different views, that's going to help you to establish the perspective. So again, it's where the half between the nose to the chin. So if I take that over, so right here, and you can see right here, that's where the corner of the jawbones. The head are wider on the top, taper toward the chin. So you can draw your eyelid over the eyeball like this, and put your iris over it like this. If I take a line straight from the center of the eyes, take a line straight down, you can see that gives you about the width of the mouth. And if you take that all the way down, that gives you roughly about the width of a chin. More true for male, less true for female. I'm going to draw a male figure here, so everything going to be a little more angular, okay? But if you're drawing female, everything going to be a little more subtle, more round, more elegant. So. Okay, let me add some tone. And you can see the side plane of the forehead wrap around the cheekbone, and it's going to shoot right towards the corner of the chin like this. Go right to the corner of the chin. So you also help to break the front to the side plane of the face, and that's very important. We want to know where the corners are on the body, so we know where the major plane. Okay. So the neck it's about a third. What I mean by it's about, remember I said the chin to nose, it's a third, nose to the eyebrow is a third, and then the eyebrow to the hairline. So the neck itself is third. So this distance lines out to the nose. Obviously, it doesn't depend on where your eye level is. You know, if you lower, it will be closer. Maybe just, you know, if you straight on, might be a little bit further. And again, if you draw women's, we want to stylize. You want to stylize drawing. So my figures go back to, you know, the basic proportion equivalent to the head. A normal figure like us is about 7.5 heads. Okay. If you're an NBA player, maybe you have about 8 heads. And if you are, if you look at Michelangelo's sculpture, some they go up to 12 heads. You know, those like is really elongated, really stylized. And I always tell my students, if you want to screw up your proportions, make your drawing, make your figure too long or too tall. Okay, if you want to screw out your pose, you know, the pose of a drawing, make the pose more dynamic, twist it more, or get that stretch and pinch more. If you want to screw out your line weight, make the line too thin rather than too thick. A lot of times you make a line too thick, we can misunderstood how that's a shadow instead of contour lines. Okay, so those things you want to keep in mind. And then usually, if you want to draw a woman's longer neckline, looks more prettier. So maybe for women, you draw the neck a little bit longer. Okay, so for male, the neck, the width of the neck is about the width of the face. And you're going to see an impression of the letter M in here, looks like this, because that's how muscle looks, the neck muscle called sternocleidomastoid muscle. Okay, that muscle going to sit on the collarbones. Here's the collarbone, which you can refer to the shoulder lines, like right here, the shoulder lines. And let's just look at this V for a second. This V right here is going to sit right on top of the sternal right here, which is going to be the beginning of our center line. So it's very important. For drawing, we need the center line, especially if you're drawing, parts like the torso, which is symmetrical, the part which is symmetrical area, you want to make sure you have that center line. So especially when you draw 3/4 view, you want to make sure you have that center line to guide you, so you know how much is this side of the torso and how much is on the side that's closer to you. So make sure when you draw the neck at the front view, make sure the neck has to touch the collarbone right here. Don't just do this. I sometimes see students just do this. Make sure it pass through and touch that collarbone. What's that in the back? It's the muscle called trapezius muscle. It's a triangle muscle behind your neck, which is going to come out right here like this. Depends. If you're very masculine, they can be higher. If you're a normal, person, can be a little bit lower. I'm going to make it slightly lower right here. You can see the neck is in front of that trapezius. Here's the Adam's apple right here. Here's we call it pit of neck right here, which is the beginning of center line. Here's your collarbone. Make your collarbone straight. At least at first. I know the collarbone had this S curve, looks like bicycle the handlebar. But just keep it straight first, because when you start drawing the S curve, sometimes it gets confused, because it gets a little too abstract. Okay? Well, as for drawing, we always find out from point to point first. Okay? We find out where to begin, where to end. We just shoot right to, right there, and then we come back, and then we can curve things that we like. But keep it straight first. The next thing we need to find is our shoulder width, okay? And shoulder width is tricky to find because the shoulder is the only part on the body working independently. That's why we can have all this ability, all this movement. Let's look at the skeleton for a second. Okay, and you can see the most important part on the skeleton is the spinal cord, because everything else is basically pretty much it kind of sits on the spinal cord. It's like the column for the house. The three largest parts on the skeletons is the head, rib cage, and the pelvis. Okay, as you can see, the head connects onto the spinal cord, so is the rib cage, so is the pelvis. The leg is connecting to the socket of the pelvis. So even though we have this mobility, we have pretty good mobility for the leg, but again, it's this ball joint joined to the socket. But if we look at how the arm, the humerus, how it fits onto our scapula, our shoulder blade, if you look at it, it does also like how leg joins, but it joins to the socket of the shoulder blade. Okay, but the shoulder blade does not fix onto the rib cage like this. It actually sits on the muscles. The muscle is called serratus anterior muscle. The muscle sits between the shoulder blade and the back of the rib cage. That's why we can glide. That's why the shoulder blade can go up and down, forward and backward. And when the shoulder move, think about, you see how the collarbones is joined to the shoulder blade? We call this shoulder girdle. You see, and when arm moves, this whole shoulder joint, whole shoulder girdle move along with it. That's why it gets a little complicated to find that the exact shoulder width. Okay, but a lot of times, if you don't get the shoulder width right, probably what happens is you're going to probably screw out the width for the torso, and everything else is going to screw up. Okay, so the way I figure out, and then it works more for male, less for females. Okay, the easiest way, just take the width of your head, and then just move over to the side. Okay, suppose they want you to do, you need to take your whole head, forehead, and move down to your collarbones, and turn over to the side. But to me, that's a lot of work, And then so what I'll do is I'll just put the head and turn over to the side. And if you can see, it has this caliber things right here. If I put it right here, again, here's this called the zygomatic arch, which is the cheekbone, the widest part on the face in the front view. And you can see if I take that, okay, and then if I move that over to the side like this is not that much, off. Here's the humerus, okay, and then so if we do a male, pretty fit male, like I said, it's worked pretty good. What are you gonna hit? It's gonna hit about where the outside of the deltoid, okay, not necessarily at the humeral head. So if today I'm gonna draw a female body, or I just shrink down a little bit. Okay, but like I said, it could work. So I just take a cheek to cheek. Okay, I just move that over and move that distance to the side like this. And it could give you pretty good, give you the width of a shoulder. Oops, put this right here. Okay, and then when I drawing the shoulder, okay, and then like earlier I said, these whole shoulder girdle, think of it as one unit. So when the shoulder moves, the collarbone moves too. So what I'll do is I'll take this collarbone right here, do it with the blue line, right? I take that shoulder girdle, and then I'll think of the shoulder as a corner. I just draw a line straight out like this. Okay, so I take this line right here and I draw a line out like that. So what happens is if the arm move up, I just imagine this line also raise up at the same time, so you can see how the relationships. But the problem is the model is not just going to standing perfectly straight, like this. The model is going to do all sort of pose. As soon as the model doing this, just a little movement of the shoulder, it's going to be different. That's going to be different, and especially when the arm goes out, that's going to be different. Okay, so what we're gonna do? The other way I used to find the shoulder width, and I use this technique a lot, is I'm looking for a triangle relationships. Okay, that works very, very well for drawings. Okay, for all the artists, I think this works really well. I look at mark from the top of the head, I plug the triangles like this. Okay. And then, matter of fact, it worked for not just for front view, it worked for three-quarter view too. Long as you have that center line. So you have a center line, I can still use that center line and to find out where the triangle is, just in perspective. So again, if you have 2 points, long as you have the center line, I can still plug that triangle. Okay? So what happened is, even though if I put my shoulder in like this, you're still going to see a triangle. Okay? So, and then, matter of fact, you're going to see a lot of triangle relationships throughout throughout the figure. We only done head, but within the head we already have few. Look, we have eyes to the nose, that's a triangle. Nose to the corner of the lips, that's a triangle, right? The ear to the chin, that's a triangle. The neck is a triangle, trapeze is a triangle, right? So we can we can go all the way down to nipple, to the belly button is a triangle. Belly button to the iliac crest is a triangle. Iliac crest to the crotch is a triangle, right? The negative space is a triangle. My silhouette is a triangle. It's a very, very powerful tool. Plus, if you look at the triangle, its most dynamic shapes, it covers what the box could do, because even though we're looking at these 3 points, we're looking at this relationship, but we also kind of take care of what the box could do for us. We're also looking for a relationship like the box, which are most symmetrical shapes. And then also guess what? The triangle is an arrow, right? It's an arrow. Which arrow give us directions. We want eyes to flow on your figure. When you draw, you want to make sure the viewer are floating within your drawings. You don't want the viewer to just stuck in one area, and that arrow will also help you to do that. So triangle, it's a great method to help to find, you see how what I did there from the belly, it can also plug a triangle right to where your greater canter. So, and then the other is both techniques fail, okay? If the one head doesn't work, if the triangle doesn't work because the model doing this, okay? And then just look at the negative space. This is all I can tell. Look at negative space. And also look at collarbones. When the arm raises up, the collarbone is also gonna rise up, okay? And then just keep this in mind. The shoulder is only going to get narrower. It's not going to get any more further. It's only going to get narrower. A little movement I would do, it's only going to get closer, closer, and closer. A little movement I raise on my shoulder is going to get closer, closer, and closer. It's not going to get any more further. So it's not going to get more than one head over. Just keep that in mind. Okay? So use the one head over. I'll just write one head. Okay, you can use the one head. You can use the triangle, use the negative space, or use all three. Okay, or looking for the collarbone. So let's kind of work it down. And so once we find the shoulder width, next we need to find is our torso width. Torso is easy because torso is you can stretch, pinch, but it's not going to move so much as the shoulder would do. Okay, so to find the shoulder width, all you need to do is take the half head from the center to the cheekbones and move that over to the side. That will give you where the width of the torso. So if I take half head from center to the cheekbone, and if we move that over, you see how it gives you pretty good for your torso width? Okay, so this guy right here is a male. The reason why I know he's a male because the pelvis aligned with the rib cage. Okay, so if for female, what will happen is the pelvis, the iliac crest, this right here, for female, it's going to open out a little more this way, and it's going to open face like this. Okay, so what happens when we see the difference between male and female figure? Female, usually the rib cage comes down, and when they hit the waist area, it angles out like this, and then the pelvis is going to turn into a skirt shape like this. That's a typical female body shape. For male, we're a little bit wider at the shoulder, so we're a little bit V out, our shoulder a little bit VL like this, and then the torso come down, and then we have this little love handle, which is the oblique muscle, and come down like this, and then our pelvis is about same width as the rib cage. Okay, so a little bit VL like this, but again, this is our rib cage sits in here like this. Okay, so that's the male body type right here. So what happened is the reason why is because the female collect fat down their hip. So usually they still get the hourglass, body shape, but their butt gets wider. For guys we collect fat on our oblique. So more donuts you eat, this part is going to hang out more. So and then, but our rib cage and pelvis they keep about the same width. Okay, so I give you roughly about the width of the torso. Okay, so let's work off the head. And earlier I said normal figure like us is about 7.5 heads, and this guy I'm assumed going to be an 8 head because I like to use the 8 head figures. It's stylized, looks better, and easy for me to place the foot. So what I do is I know the crotch should be about 4 head at the midpoint. So once I get to the crotch, all I need to do is just take that same distance and put where my feet is. It's easy, okay? And it looks, like I say, it's a stylized, it's elongated proportion, and it looks better. So again, I'm going to use this caliper again. So here's top of the cranium to the chin, right here. Okay, so as we know, and it's one head down right here, it's going to be end of the sternum right here, this piece right here. And that's also going to be where the chest lines, which is right here. Okay, so one head down right there, right at the end of the sternum. That's where chest line. So I'm going to mark right here. Again, use the triangle. See, I use the triangle again to find the width of the placement of the nipple. And you see how where the neckline, you see how that's going to flow right into where the pectoral, the chest muscle end, like this. So they kind of flow together. Anytime when you can connect things, connect them. Connect parts, connect them, because you keep your drawing feel more harmonious. It give you that nice, give you the good relationships. Okay, so that's where one head down is your chest. Let me go on this side. So here is our first head. So here's our second head. Okay, so earlier we find the width of the rib cage. Okay, and then like I said at the beginning, the head and rib cage and pelvis is the largest part on the skeleton. We have to know their relationships. It's a contrapostal or it's twist. So we want to know their proportions. What do you know? We only know the width. I say it's half heads over. The top is easy, just a little bit above the collarbone, as you can see our skeleton, just a little bit above. So how do we know where's the bottom of a rib cage? Okay, the easiest way I will tell you is just take the sternum, despite the little tail right here. Take that sternum and move that down. It'll give you where the bottom of the rib cage. Okay. Otherwise, what you need to do, you need to take that one head and move the whole head down, and then make it halfway of that, and then move that down. Again, that's a lot of work. Okay. Just take that sternum and then move that down. That means take that chest and move that down. So if I just take this and just move that down somewhere about right there. See, I give you about where roughly the bottom of rib cage. And then the rib cage is in the egg shape. It's, let's put it right here. It's taper on the top, wider on the bottom, like this, okay? Do not draw a sphere. Do not draw a box. It has to be an egg. See, it has to taper off to the skinny neck. Where you start taper off, you start taper out right above the chest line. So you go goes right above chest line, you start tapering off. The other thing, if you guys also want to know with the placement of the nipple, it's also about a head, okay? So that can also help you to figure out where the placement of the nipple. My suggestion is, you rather to make the chest or nipple a little too far out to create that triangle shape. A lot of time what happens, if you misplace the nipple, you end up kind of squashing the chest, and then your drawing will start looking like this, and you probably don't want to look like this. You want to create more heroic, proportion, expand that chest. Brings it up. Okay, so the other thing I want you guys to look is see where the nipple, see how it aligns with the corner of the rib cage. See? Well, I can probably move this one over a little bit. Right here. Here's the corner of rib cage. They align. Matter of fact, if I take that all the way down, later when we get to the pelvis, that's actually where the interior superior iliac crest, which is this point right here. But they all consider as the corner of your body. Again, corner is important because they help divide the major plane. Okay, so that's our second head. Second head is your chest. Third head should be right at your belly button. Again, first head. Second head, third head, see, that's right there. It's about where the belly button, and it's about where the top of the pelvis, close enough. And I usually would think, when landmarks are close enough, I line them up. So just think this way. Just think of the top of the pelvis is where your belly button. So 1, 2, 3, right there. That's your third head. The pelvis, it's like a bucket shape. Wider on the top, taper toward the bottom. Like this. About a head tall. As you can see, the belly button to the crotch, that's about a head tall. Here's the belly button right here. Okay. And then if I divide the pelvis into third, so and as a matter of fact, the distance of the waist also should be about a third. Same as from your chin to your nose, just like your neck is about that same distance. Okay. So the first third is going to be your iliac crest right here. Okay. And then the second third is going to be the arch of the pelvis, which is going to be your stomach. Where is your stomach in? Right here. And then the third third is going to be the bottom of the pelvis, this little ring called ischium, right here at the bottom of the pelvis, which is going to be right here. So it's going to give you the base of the pelvis. Like I said, this part, second third, is where your stomach ends. So if I take the stomach, it's going to come down right, fits right in here. Okay. And then between the rib cage and the pelvis on the side is the oblique muscle I said earlier. So that oblique muscle going to sit right over on top of this iliac crest. So you get the round rib cage. You get the oblique. Go right over the iliac crest. You're going to stop where the corner of the body, right here, right, lines up with the corner of rib cage and the belly and the nipple. The bottom third, right here, which like you see here, is the bottom of stomach. If we divide this into half again, if we divide this into half, like here, like this, right here, that's going to be the beginning of your leg, which is called the great trochanter. Okay, so they be dry so you can see it. Again, that triangle works really well. So here is imagine. Okay, if you look it back, here is the back to the pelvis, the bucket-shaped pelvis right here. See the triangles right here, and here's the femur head right here. And you see how this extension comes out, and you get this part called great trochanter comes out right here. If you're standing perfectly straight, the inside of the knee lines up pretty close to the center lines. Your kneecap, the patella, is going to favor toward your femur bone, as you can see. It's going to favor to the femur bone. It's not going to be in front of your shin bone. It's going to be in front of your femur. Okay, so, and for the legs, from the great trochanter to the knee, the bottom of the knee, which is 2 heads. Okay, you need to make sure it should be about 2 heads. Okay, you cannot screw up that proportions. Okay, earlier I said Michelangelo's has his figure about all the way up to 12, 13 heads. The way to do it, there are parts that you could stretch in this part, you shouldn't stretch, okay? In this case, that you need to keep true as 2 heads. And however, we can stretch your lower shin, just like when women wear high heel shoes to make legs longer. It's not the upper thigh, it's the lower shin, okay? So this you have to keep as 2 heads. So it's, okay. So that's the forehead, and that's where the crotch. The crotch sits right below your stomach. Right here. Right below your waist, which is the oblique, you're gonna have a bump right here. And then that's the butt muscle. They call the gluteus medius muscle. Okay, and then your legs, start after that. So a lot of times I see students, they would draw the leg, the curvature of leg right below the oblique. And what will happen is now feel like a leg growing out from underneath the stomach. That would not look right. Okay, so you have the waist, and then you have the gluteus medius. Then you have your thigh muscle comes out. Okay, so let's do that. Okay, keep in mind, inside of the knee is curved like this. You swing right over your shin. Okay, looks like, think about a tube. You swing over so you can feel the volume of that that cylinder. However, the outside of the knee is straight. So you get this curve of the inside of the knee, and it's going to swing right into your shin bone like this. You can see it. That's how the body, the way that built body design. You see how inside the shin is curved? The outside, because we had this bone called the fibula, this is called the tibula, looks like a letter T, this is the fibula, so its outside is straight, inside is curved. See, inside curve, outside straight. You go all the way down to your ankle bone. You're going to get a pinch where the adductor muscle goes right beside the crotch. You're going to get that pinch. That pinch needs points towards the iliac crest, right? This point right here needs points to this point right there. And we finish the other side. So you had the gluteus medius, and then your thigh muscle. Outside straight, inside curve. You swing right to underneath the below the shin bones. The inside swing curved, outside straight. Here is the ankle. Think of the wrench that locks over the ball of the foot, and then you have your foot kind of comes out like this. Here's your toe. So here's the kneecap is going to favor towards the femur bones. You have the kneecap, you have the fatty pad below the kneecap. Okay, so okay, last thing, the arms. Again, my figure is a stylized figure, is a head tall. So I with my arm proportions also slightly bit stylized. Normal arm length is about 3.5, and mine is going to be 4 heads. So let's see. When you guys draw, make sure you draw back and forth, left to right, left, and don't just copy one. Don't just copy outline kind of all the way down. You have to go work from left to right. So thinking about shapes, thinking about form. Okay. So what I did here is no matter how you want to elongate your arms, okay, but a couple of things you want to keep in mind. It's your elbow right there. It has to be about where the bottom rib cage is. So, matter of fact, if you do this, your elbow gonna hit where the corner, the bottom rib cage. No matter how long you want to stretch your forearm, okay, but at the end of the day, that wrist needs to be about next to that greater canter, okay. So it needs to be about right there, okay. So it can a little bit lower, it's fine, just not too not too low off that greater canter. So I can just build this. The trapezius, deltoid. See, center line is very important. It goes right to this round shape of the thumb muscle right in here. So let's see. So I say my arm is about forehead. That's why I need to stand back and always check your proportions. So if we take the head, okay, you can see from the shoulder, from the shoulder down, one head, two head. My third head should be about my wrist. My fourth head should be over the hand itself. Again, this is a stylised proportion. Usually a hand is not really go all the way up to your head. It's about go to your hairline. But like I said, you can elongate it. It looks better. Two, third head, and fourth head. So how many heads do we have here? Let's take a look. So let's go back one head right here. So I'm going to use a black contact so you can see better. So one head. Second head should be right at your chest line. Third head should be about your belly button. Fourth head should be right about your crotch. And then that also is the midpoint. It's the midpoint. I'm going to write it here again. The midpoint of your figure. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so 5, 6, 7, and 8. Right where the heel is. 5, 6, 7, and 8. Let's look at the back view. So again, I'm going to mark a center line. Mark at the back of the cranium right here. That's where the end of the cranium, where the trapezius muscle origin from. Back of the ear. Here's the shoulder blade. Again, the bucket shape, even when we're looking at them from the back view, you have the sacrums, also the iliac crest. I still like to use that triangle to get the great trochanter, the leg bone, the beginning of leg bone. Back out the knee. Okay, so kind of indicate where the elbow, and I say the elbow should be about where the bottom of rib cage. Okay, bottom of rib cage about somewhere right here. Okay, let's start from the back, start from the top again. Okay, so you kind of have to see through see through the neck to kind of see where the front of the jaw and the chin is to be able to feel where that one head. So I'm going to just kind of draw through it. Let me use the blue. So the front of the jaw should be about right there. So imagine you have to see through this head. Okay, so here is the back end of the cranium. Later we're going to do a profile. You're going to see this a little more clear. So here's the back end of the cranium. If you take a line straight over to the front, you can see it lines pretty close to your eye line. That means the back end of the cranium is pretty high up. A lot of times what happens, you have hair, the model usually have a hair that covers it. You can't really see it. But this is where that back cranium ends. That means that's where the neck begins. Okay, so and also indicate a little dot right there. What that is the 7 vertebrae. 2, 4, 6, 7. This guy right here. Okay, that's where actually we consider as this one right here. Consider the beginning of the neck. Okay, so they are. When we get to the skeletons, I will talk about skeleton more. Actually, the spinal cord divided into 3 sections: the neck, the rib cage, and the waist. But now we're just going to focusing on the proportions. Again, this triangle shape comes from the back of the cranium. We call the trapezius muscle. Again, it's a triangle shape. It's going to sit right on top of this shoulder girdle, shoulder blade. Let me draw the shoulder blade. You can kind of see it has this neat shape to it. Looks like a triangle. We're going to come over on this side like this. This is the spine of the shoulder blade. It's going to thrust forward. You can see on the skeleton it's thrust forward. Like this. It's gonna join to the collarbone in the front. Oops, this looks a little small. Like this. One thing keep it in mind. The shoulder blade, it sits on the corner plane, as you can see on the skeletons. Okay, there's the back, which is the front plane, and then we'll have corner plane, and then you have the side planes. So the front view, the breast actually sits on the corner plane, the nipple sits on the corner plane. Okay, and then you can also see the proportion of the shoulder blade. It's about half of the rib cage. Okay, you want to keep that in mind. So since the shoulder blade sits on the corner, that means we are actually looking at a 3-plane from the top, like this. They're actually a 3-plane. You have the corner right here, back, and then corner shoots out like this. Okay? That means I'm going to take a line. I'm going to swing a line from the shoulder blade. I'm going to just do this. I'm going to make it curve. I'm going to curve right into the sacrum like this. I mean, redraw that rib cage. So, and I'm also gonna shade this down a little bit. So this cranium turns down, so I'm going to shade this darker. And I'm also going to just do this wrap around around the cranium in the front. There's a side. And what this line you see right here, that's your neck. That's the sternomastoid muscle, your neck muscle, in front of your trapezius muscle. So here is the trapezius muscle, sits right on top of the spinal shoulder blade. It's going to sit right on top of the spinal shoulder blade, and it's going to come down to the end of rib cage. And then this is the sternocleidomastoid muscle, the neck muscle. And then here's your ear. And there you are, and then your cranium. So this is in the back, this is in the front, like this. So earlier we talked about the 8 head proportion, so that's what we have. So this is the first head, and the second head is about where's your end of your shoulder blade. So let's see. Again, back to your first head. This is your second head. You see how that fits right into the sacrum? You got a side, you got a front, you got a side. So what happens? We look at the back side, and you can also see on the skeletons. The rib cage thrusts this way. Okay, so it comes. That's why we had the sternum, all the angles up. So on the bottom of the rib cage, it's going to get darker, and because this actually, imagine if you're looking at a half cylinder. We're going to be looking at a cylinder looks like this. Right? It comes up. So what happens is on this curve right here, that's where your shoulder blade gonna sit. So it works great for our perspective. So your shoulder blade actually gonna sit on this curve. So give us a sense of that plane. Since it's turning away from us, that's why the bottom will be darker. But the hip is gonna counterbalance that. The hip is gonna come towards us. So the hip is gonna come over this way like this. So this points down, that actually points up. So a lot of times you get this tensions in the back. So first head, second head, the third head. See where's the top lines up to the top of pelvis. and then the fourth head would be at the bottom of the pelvis. So here's your rib cage. The oblique sits on top of the pelvis. The buttocks is going to end a little bit lower than the pelvis. So if we look at the skeletons, don't get fooled by the skeleton. The gluteus maximus muscle, the butt muscle, it doesn't end here. You actually go all the way about down here to sit on the back of the femur bone. Okay, so part of it helped to bring the leg back. So that means our end of the forehead is right here, but where the buttocks ends a little bit lower. And then here it turns right where at the base of that forehead, it turns down, so it actually gets a little bit darker. And you know, it actually angles in, just like the pelvis, it angles in. The sacrum, the triangle. Again, remember, inside of the knee curved, outside straight. You got this plane here, you got this plane here. You got a muscle called the bicep femoris muscle. That's why you get the shape looks like this. So what happened is, see how that tendon splits? And your calf muscle is going to join right into that. It's going to insert right into that. So you have the calf muscle, and then you have the Achilles tendons. The thing where you guys draw, we always have muscle, and muscle ends to a tendon, and tendon connect to the bone. So what happens? You always get the round curve to a straighter tendon, and you have more angular bones. Okay, so think about those texture: round, straight, corner. Okay, you're gonna see that almost everywhere. Round, straight, corner. If you're drawing the back of the foot, plant it down very solid, and then so we know the perspective of the floor. Plant it down like that. Calf, Achilles tendon, ankle, and the foot. So that's why you need overlaps here, because the calf muscle insert into the bicep, the tendon of bicep femoris muscles. It goes in. So what you see like this. That's why you need the overlap. Again, don't forget about the box. We have back, we have side. Back plane, side plane. The ankle bone is going to sit on the side plane like this. One thing we notice, if you look at the hip again, the hip, if we take this and we break into two planes, here to here, you're going to get a corner right here. You're going to get a point right there. I don't know if you can see it. You're going to get a point right there. If I take that point straight down right here, you're going to meet that point right there. Okay? So actually, what we're looking at, we're actually looking at a box of the hip too, right here. So you had the back plane, you had side plane, you had back plane, you had bottom plane. So what happened is, if you take this, see this corner, that's why corner is important. Okay, so once we take that corner is going to align with the corner of the back of the knee. So what happened is everything on this side is all going to be back plane. Everything beyond that is all going to be side plane. And that side plane is going to go all the way up to the side plane of this hip. So that's why sometimes you actually will see, if you kind of clutch your hip, you're actually going to see a shadow kind of doing this. Oops. You can see that here's the bottom of the hip. And just keep in mind, this pinch, the pinch of the buttocks, is not going to go any more further than this corner. Okay, it has to stop right here. If you can probably go a little bit further, it's okay, but it's not going to go too far because that can indicate where that corner begins. Okay. So what you actually see is the hip actually is narrower and the leg is wider. Remember, this is 1/3, just like the front. This is the 1/3. Remember these corners. Remember these relationships. trying to connect things. So back to the arm. Again, I mark the elbow about where the bottom rib cage, elbow. See, still get box right here. The side, the back. Center line. See, back to the box. Once we know the box, we know where to shade. Let's do it on this side. Let me curve this way. The arm is a curve. Don't make it straight, okay? You see actually I have a curve. And then I'm going to curve out this way. The leg also has a curve, has an S curve. Like that. Redraw that shoulder blade. Things very, very important. If you guys draw the back view or draw 3/4 view, if you see that shoulder blade, you have to draw it, okay? Because a lot of stuff happen on the shoulder blade. It's going to affect the surface of the body. So. See how that flow right into the elbow? Okay, so again, look what we have here. We can use the black too. So we have one head, second head about the to the bottom of the shoulder blade. Shoulder blade. Third head about your top of your pelvis. If you see through it, it will be your belly button. Fourth head, which would be the bottom of pelvis, not the bottom of your gluteal muscle though. It's about right here. Okay, that's your fourth head. Again, midpoint. 5 head, 6 head, 7 head, 8 head. Oops. So this is the proportion and the plane, the structures you guys need to know on the back view of the figure. Oops. So, from side view, you need to kind of feel with that spinal cord come up from the neck, and how that the S curve of spinal cord, how it turns into the waist. Usually, I just stop, at where the curve ends, because the problem is the S curve, because it gets a little bit abstract. How do you know where the curve stop and where the next curve begins? So I usually keep it safe. I usually look for a C curve, just again from point to point, and that's easier to measure. You can compare it to the head or compare it to somewhere else, and then you can do another composing curve after that. Okay, so I'm just gonna do that for now, and I'm gonna get from the front gesture line of the body. And usually what I'll do is I'll make sure I'll keep the front of the stomach a little bit in the front of the face. So again, you get that more chirurgic kind of type of pose. You don't want to kind of sucks it in and ends out your pose looks kind of like this. So, and then so I'll basically just see maybe about a quarter head. That could be a good place to, to get that. To mark out the front of the stomach. And then, again, like I said, it's good to know the proportion of the rib cage. So if you can, if you can memorize proportions of the heads and rib cage and the pelvis, good. Rib cage, about a quarter, about 1/3 is the oblique. I'm going to draw an egg. Make sure it's tilted egg like that. And then the hip. Keep in mind that rib cage thrusts this way. So if the sternal, you can see there's an angle of the sternal. Again, the more angle you lift up, the more chirurgic is the figure going to look. I'm going to put another angle right here, and I'll explain it in a second. So I want to get the laying down first. So you can see how that swing right into that oblique. Again, if you can connect things, can be a line, can be a shape. If you see the relationship, if we can see they flow to each other, just connect it. It's gonna do you good. It's gonna feel more harmonious. Keep all the parts, they all connect so they don't feel isolated. Again, if you draw human figures, very important to make sure it's not about the individual part, it's about the relationships between parts and relationship within parts. So we want to take that, and you can even take this. Look, you can even take that and flow right to the legs if you want. Make sure that center line is important. It's going to come right through the middle of the head. It's going to probably finish out right about in the middle of the foot. Again, calf muscle, Achilles tendon, heel. So here, this line right here is the collarbones. And then you can see, I say it's better off drawing, start with straight lines, and then we can come back and do our curve. Like that, and then you can, as we know, the end of the collarbone, somewhere right here is going to be your arm. So let's get this. Again, the box. Okay, so let's start looking from the head. Earlier we talked about if we find it halfway of the head, it's about where your eye is. So if you find the top to the bottom, okay, somewhere about in the middle is your eyes. Okay. Well, before let me go back a step. Most important thing when you draw in side view of the head is the top to the bottom of the head equal to the front to the back. Okay, so we're looking at a square here, and then if we find the center of the square, as you can see, it's going to be right where your jawbone begins, which that's very important to know, because what we have, anything in front of the jawbone is your face, anything behind that is your cranium. So if you're drawing like a 3/4 view, and then how much face you see, how much cranium you see, and then if your head slowly turns away, that means you're going to see less of the face. You're going to see more of the cranium. So this line that you're going to help divide that, and it's very, very important to see how much mass of face you see, how much cranium you see. You know, for example, if I continue drawing out this, you see, if I know where the center mark is, center of the top of the head, about right here. If I take a line over, so you're going to see that's about where the center of the side view. Then I'll know here, in front of that is your jawbone. Behind that, I know is my ear. And then I know behind that is your cranium. Like that. So, and the head, the cranium higher on the back, lower in the front. So you can actually divide several planes. This plane, this plane, and then this plane, and this plane here, right here, like this. See how these line up? See how the back end line up with the jawbone right here? Okay. One of the most important landmark on the side view, which is the widest part on the side view of the head, is the chin to this corner right here. Okay. So where the top meets the back. So somewhere right here. Okay. The relationship to the chin. That's very important because when the head tilts up or tilts down, we need to look for that. Okay, that's the widest part. So if the head looking up, for that relationship. If the head looking down, can even be a 3/4 view like this. See? Still need to look for their relationship. Because again, that's the widest point. So when you draw, so you know the head, the cranium is longer in the back. Like that. So ear sits right behind the jawbone right here. The ear should sit up in an angle. Okay, I probably should make it more obvious. Should be should sit up of an angle like that. Okay. Right above the eye line is your eyebrow. What I do is I dig out eye socket, just like the skeletons. I dig out eye socket and I'll put an eyeball inside the eye socket. Right? So let me add a little tone to show you where the side. So here's the side plane. And it comes from like this. And you get this piece called the zygomatic arch. Goes right to the ear. And then what I'll do is then I can draw the eyelid over the eyeball. Just like that. So you really feel the form that fits in really nicely. Okay. The nose, as we know, the bottom of the nose is halfway between the eyebrow to the chin. So here's the eyebrow, here's the chin. So somewhere halfway between here, it's going to be where the nose is. The nose is going to be right here. Matter of fact, if you look, it's going to be about where the bottom of the ear. Okay. Mouth, 1/3 between the nose to the chin, right? 1/3, about 1, 2, 3, 1/3, somewhere right here. Okay. But the thing, when you draw mouth, as you can see on the skull, there's a barrel. Okay. And then the lips go over the barrel. So when you draw mouth, you need to make sure you don't just draw. Here's the head, and then here's the head. You don't just draw the eyes and the nose. You don't just start drawing your lips like right against the center line of the head. No, what you need to do, we need to add a barrel, kind of push out like this, and then draw your lips over that barrel. So earlier I said the end of the cranium lines up about with the eye line, and that's when the neck begins. Right here, where the jaw bones meets the bottom of the chin, often you're gonna get a shadows right in here. And what happened is right behind the ear, that neck muscle, sternocleidomastoid muscle, comes straight down right behind the ear, like this. So what we have here, the neck is a tube. It's a tilted tube like this. You can see tilted backward like this. Just like this, the spine shows, you see the neck is tilted to the tube. And then the collarbone is going to be sits flat like this. So what's between the neck and the collarbone with this triangle section right here? You probably can see with this. What this triangle section is right here. That connect the both parts is our trapezius, that triangle muscles. So keep in mind that the front of the neck is low, back of the neck is high. That can be untrue for side view, three-quarter view. If you look at this view right here, my front of my neck is going to be right here. My back of the neck is going to be right here. Here's the trapezius. Right here's my tube of my neck, and here's my collarbones. So back of neck is high, front of the neck is low. Here again, sternal. Make sure the angle's out. And your chest will be. I say the bottom of the sternum will be the chest line. Again, should be about one head, right? Let's do. So here's your first head, your second head. About right there. And your third head should be about where the belly button is. 1, 2, 3, right here. Usually right below the belly, we have here's our abdominal muscle. And the abdominal muscle, we have 6 above the belly and 2 below. So what happens right below the belly, you're going to have a little step out, and then it turns into the arch of the pelvis. So you get this part, which indicates this part of the rib cage that kind of pushes out, and then it comes straight down. And right below the belly, it pushes out a little bit, and then it curves tucks right into the pubic arch. So here is the belly button, right here. So even the shadow is a triangle shapes. See, here's the triangle, right? Here's the triangle. Here's the triangle. Deltoid means it comes from the delta, and that also means triangle. You can follow that spinal cord, right? Very important. And then the waist, this area. Usually what I'll do is I give a little convex curve like this, because I want to feel the compressions, the rib cage and then the pelvis, they kind of press together. I want to get that little compression. So it's more, so the front of the body, it's more of a stretch. The back is more of a pinch. Again, the heroic pose like that. Stretch and pinch in the back. So what we have here, 1, 2, 3, 4. Remember in the back view I said the forehead is not at the butt at the end of buttocks, it's a little bit higher. It's going to be right about where the crotch is. Okay, so that's our forehead. Again, it's the midpoint of your body, which I like to set my figure as the A head. I'll set this right in the middle. I'll put another same distance and just gonna move that down. So if you screw up, like say if you screw up your drawing, you accidentally make the head to the crotch 5 heads, all you need to do, just make another 5 head to your feet. Your drawing will still look fine, okay? So what do we have here? Right below this is oblique, again back oblique, you have the iliac crest, right here. The legs does not start right here, which that point is right here. Very important, I marked the interior superior of iliac crest right here. The leg does not start from that point. Okay, what happened? When we get to the muscle, I'll make it more clear. What happens? You have a muscle here, but and then you have a tendon from this point all the way down here, about this much is all tendon, and then the muscle mass will take off about right here. So that means from here about this much, it actually is flat. This is the tendons, and then the bulge of the leg muscle comes out after that. Okay, so you do not want to draw that bulge come out right underneath the oblique. Again, you feel like you're missing the hip if you do that. Okay, so, and one thing that's also very important if you draw in a side view is you do never ever end the buttocks on the same line as your end of a stomach. Okay, because the end of a stomach is going to end high, and then the buttocks is going to end low. This is the thing we call rhythm in live drawings. You can see it very much on the side view profile. The heads, right here, to the back of rib cage, to the front of the stomach, to the buttocks, to the thigh, to the calf, to the front of the shin muscle, and then to the foot. Okay, it's this rhythm that gives us lively feel in your drawings. If we analyze the rhythms, if you look. This is pretty much what I did. These high, low, arrow that counterbalance each other. If I do it in linear way, it's a zigzag, right? Zigzag what give energy, like lightning, they give energy, okay? And then also what you feel like is like water, and then 98% of the body is all liquid, so it's it also has that watery, feel. So that and also it's like I said, it's a balancing act. Something pushed too far to the right, something gonna push to the left, and then again vice versa. So it's very, very important. Not just on the individual muscle. Actually, it would appear on the overall pose too. If model striking some kind of twisting pose or contrapositive pose, you will see these rhythms of the of the silhouette of the pose, you will actually see these rhythms. So again, this to this, the stomach to the bottom of the hip. Get this overlaps, but buttocks is gonna sit over on that bicep femoris muscle. So don't forget overlap. Overlap is very important. Look how much overlap I already put in. That's the quickest way to give a depth and three-dimensional form. Like, look, see how this overlap that. So we know this is in front of that. Look, the deltoid is front of the bicep. Here's the great trochanters, okay, about pretty close to the bottom of the stomach. Look, here's the bottom of the stomach, right? Great trochanters about right here, pretty close. The front curve of on the thigh, the front curve is going to be a long curve. It's going to give the stretch long curve. The back is going to be a short curve. Long curve, very short curve. Curve straight because that's muscle, that's a tendon. Legs, no matter which view you're looking on the leg, it has to be an S curve. Okay, so what happened is the knee, just the kneecap, the patella, is going to sit behind the thigh muscle, right? This line right here is going to sit behind from that line. So here's the kneecap, the tendon, this sits in the front. Keep that knee, push that knee back. Okay, so where the S curve, happened, it happened right at the knee area. Okay, so what happens is what I try to visualize is that here's your thigh, comes down like this, and then think about the knee. It's its own sections. That it looks like little cylinders that angles backwards, just like the neck. And then the shin comes from behind the knee, and the foot just a wedge like that. Okay, so that's what's to create that beautiful S curve. So that means if this kind of angles back, I'm going to bring my calf muscle up here to parallel to the angles of my knee. As long as you have think that parallel, that's going to help you to create that directions. This, right, to maybe this right here, helps create, the directions. Round muscles, straight tendons, drawing through. Drawing through is very important. Curve, tendons, and then goes over to the foot. That's the corner of the rib cage. Again, I like to show in a skeletal landmark and like the elbow, like the ulna head, this bump right here. Because if you don't, in a lot of time what happens, your drawing is going to have a lot of curve, a lot of roundness in your drawing, and your drawing will look cartoonish. And you probably don't want your drawing to look too cartoonish if you want to do more realistic figure drawings. Let me just pop in some of the darker line to clarify things a little bit, like this bicep. I want to make it darker so it helps to separate from that torso. The neck muscle is in front of the Adam's apple. So, and then again, keep in mind how this all line out right in the middle. Of the foot. Center of the head all the way to the middle of the foot.